This is what excites us most as Americans. The Iranians have agreed to invite IEA inspectors back into the country. This is an important milestone for the American people and the first step toward permanent denuclearization, or rather, the permanent end of the nuclear weapons program in Iran. And that's exactly what we wanted to do. That's exactly what we asked for. We made a lot of progress in other nuclear negotiations, and that brings me to the last thing to accomplish, which is to set up the process for the technical negotiations that will follow.
Iran agreed to allow the return of international nuclear inspectors and committed to keeping the passage through the Strait of Hormuz open. And the Trump administration responded with a temporary 60-day license to authorize the production, delivery, and sale of Iranian oil. After ongoing negotiations in Switzerland, where J.D. Vance took the center seat and left talking about real progress. The agreement is not the final treaty yet, but it has already shaken up the market. It brought oil down to below $74 per barrel and opened a real window to reduce pressure in the Middle East. Washington agreed to ease part of the economic restrictions for a limited time, but tied this gesture to commitments that strike at the heart of the Iranian regime. Nuclear inspection, free transit in Hormuz, and technical progress for a formal agreement. Tehran threatened to leave, complained about Trump's public pressure, tried to push the limits, but stayed at the table until after 1 in the morning. That's when forceful diplomacy became clear. The regime came in wanting to buy time and left forced to accept inspections, oil restrictions, and direct talks with the Americans. What did Iran really accept? Why did Trump release oil for only 60 days? How did Vance keep the talks together when Tehran threatened to abandon everything? I'll tell you all about it in a moment. If you like this kind of content, direct and straight to the point, consider subscribing because here there's a video like this every day. The negotiations took place at the Bergenstock complex near Lake Lucerne in Switzerland, with the direct participation of J.D. Vance, American representatives, Iranian authorities, and mediators involved in the effort to stop the escalation in the Middle East. The Trump administration put 3 points on the table: preventing the Iranian nuclear program from operating in the dark again, keeping the Strait of Hormuz open for global trade, and testing whether Tehran is willing to turn its promise into action. Iran agreed to allow inspectors from the International Atomic Energy Agency into its territory, a gesture that Washington considered an important step forward, because nuclear inspections have always been one of the most sensitive points of the conflict. The Treasury license was designed as temporary relief, not as a blank check. The recent one authorized for 60 days the production, delivery, and sale of oil of Iranian origin within the negotiated framework. This allows the market to move and reduces pressure on energy, but keeps the clock ticking against Tehran. The message is simple. If Iran complies, the talks move forward. If it tries to deceive, the permission may become just a short pause before new measures. Trump released oil not out of blind trust, but to turn every barrel into a test of the regime's compliance. The impact was felt quickly. Oil dropped below $74 per barrel. When Washington extracts a commitment from Tehran for free transit, the market understands that there is less immediate risk. J.D. Vance also emerged as a central figure in the breakthrough. He stated that the Iranians threatened to walk away from the negotiations after Trump's harsh responses on social media, but they didn't leave. According to Vance, there were complaints, there was pressure, but the Iranian technical team kept working in Bergenstock with the Americans. This part shows how the negotiations worked. Tehran tried to use the threat of leaving as a pressure tool, but the White House did not soften its tone. Jared Kushner got involved in the economic design of the package, with a proposal that also matters in US domestic politics. Part of the unfrozen Iranian funds can be used to buy agricultural products from the United States. The measure helps American producers, meets a humanitarian need in Iran, and also reduces the risk of the money ending up unchecked in the regime's hands. It's a practical move. Iran receives food, the American farmer sells, and Washington keeps track of where the money goes. For Trump, this turns a concession into a tool of control. There was also an important signal on the regional front. The agreement opened the door to a coordination cell, a coordination focused on Lebanon, where Israel and Hezbollah had been fueling rising tensions. The pause without exchange of fire on Sunday, recorded as the first since March 2nd, was treated as the first test of the agreement. The pressure on the Iranian regime is growing precisely because nuclear inspection is not a minor detail. Allowing the inspectors to return means accepting external eyes on facilities that Tehran has always tried to protect with sovereignty rhetoric. The Trump administration treated this as a victory because it takes Iran out of the comfort zone of secrecy. When a dictatorship accepts oversight after weeks of threats and blockades, it admits that the pressure worked. That's what gives political strength to Bissant's announcement and Vance's speech. The agreement also exposes a change of method in Washington. Trump didn't just use sanctions, nor just rhetoric. He combined military pressure, direct negotiation, economic incentives, and a short deadline. The oil license lasts 60 days because the White House wants quick results. The purchase of agricultural products is included because the agreement needs to produce concrete gains for the United States. Nuclear inspection is included because without technical control, there is no trust. The Strait of Hormuz is included because without free passage, the whole world pays the price. While diplomacy was advancing outside the United States, Trump opened another front inside the American capital by demanding harsh punishment for the vandalism at the Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool in Washington. Authorities reported arrests and citations, and prosecutor Jeanine Pirro promised to prosecute those involved. Trump reminded that the destruction or attempted destruction of federal monuments can result in up to 10 years in prison. The message was one of order. While negotiating with foreign regimes, the government also promises to act against attacks on national symbols at home. This domestic front aligns with the same political stance. Trump tries to show that there is no room for vandalism of historic property. In the field of security, the Pentagon under Peter Hegseth also maintained the operation against drug trafficking networks in the hemisphere. The United States Southern Command reported a new attack against a vessel linked to organizations designated as terrorist, with 2 dead and survivors rescued. The White House presents this campaign as a direct fight against narco-terrorists who use maritime routes to supply crime. The action shows that even with the focus on Iran, Washington has not eased the pressure on cartels and criminal groups close to American territory. In the Middle East, he pressures Iran to accept inspectors, free passage through the Strait of Hormuz, and formal negotiations. In the market, he opens up Iranian oil for a short period and sees the price per barrel drop. In agriculture, he uses unlocked assets to push the purchase of American products. In Washington, he demands harsh punishment for vandalism at the monument. In the hemisphere, he maintains military action against narco-terrorists. Vance appeared to say that the foundation has been laid, but the house still needs to be built. In simple terms, the agreement has started, but Iran still needs to prove that it's not just buying time. Tehran tried to turn the pressure into theater, but the threat of walking away from the negotiation didn't upend the table. I'm Milson Alves, Global, an international affairs specialist, and my purpose is to keep you well informed with the truth every day. The news links are in the video description. Leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and at the end, check out the comments so you can be even more engaged with the Milson Alves community.